Hail friends, welcome to the channel. Bob here, and welcome to something a bit different today. This kind of ties in with what I've spoken about on a couple of streams before, about kind of playing MMOs differently. I haven't just been, although I haven't done any videos on it, I haven't just been talk. You know, there's a couple of MMOs that I have played differently and have completely changed the experience of those games. Last time I did it was a few months ago. I'm kind of doing it in WoW at the moment, but a few months ago I leveled a character in New World to level 60, playing the game in a completely different manner, which really changed the whole experience. I know we get a bit, a bit snotty about new MMOs, but playing that game in a different way completely changed my experience and how I was playing the game and what the experience was like. It was really interesting. And I've been thinking about doing something similar with Everquest. I mentioned it in a stream, as I said, a little while ago. And I've been looking around doing some research, looking at what other people are doing, looking at what people are doing on WoW from the hardcore point of view and that kind of thing. And for a while I've been wanting to try to do I've been wanting to start a character on Everquest completely from scratch and be as independent as possible, but not going with the obvious ones like a necromancer, for example, that's going to have a much easier time at doing, or a magician or whatever, that's going to have a much easier time at doing that kind of thing. And it's interesting because there are different kind of levels of this. You know, I know that there's quite a lot of people doing, I've seen a couple of people doing like the solo self-found thing, which I quite like the sounds of. But I think there are kind of different levels of it. I've been thinking about it a bit more, trying to come up with my own parameters for starting this character. Solo self-found, I think, is probably, and actually sticking to rigidly to that, is probably the hardest way of doing it. So I wanted to play, I'm thinking about doing a warrior, for example, because I've never played a warrior, so I think it might be interesting anyway. And I've always liked the idea of the warriors kind of still having their own magical toolbox in Everquest. I think I've spoken about this before, where you get items with effects on them that kind of gives you some magical abilities. And I think it will be really interesting from playing it this way as well. I think it's probably not quite hard mode. Like maybe there are a couple of other classes that might be considered hard mode. Maybe rogue, I'm not sure. I think warrior is certainly up there with being one of the hardest to do it on. But I'm kind of looking at, as I said, looking at parameters of how to do things. So, for example, travel. Do I want to limit everything, essentially? So, for example, because what this basically means is not buying anything from other players, essentially. So do I limit travel with regards to Spirit of Wolf? And I'm kind of looking at it thinking to myself, well, do I buy potions off of a shaman? I can't make them. See, that's one of the sticking points I've had with thinking about parameters. There's a lot you can do yourself, but there are some things that you just can't do on certain classes. So do I say to myself, okay, I'm just going to run everywhere at slow speed and go that hardcore? Or do I set a parameter where I can buy a certain amount of Spirit of Wolf potions from a shaman? Things like jewelry. I mean, I can do jewelry crafting, but I think that the stats for jewelry crafting for skill gain is like wisdom and intelligence. It's going to be very low on a warrior, but I could effectively do it. Things like so the Iksar, for example, has got some armor quests like all of the warriors have, and they require some high level gems. Would I go and camp those myself, or could I buy them from an NPC, or could I buy them from another player? Just because it seems, I think there's biting off your nose to spite your face, as the saying goes, and then there's biting off your whole face, to spite your face. So I think it's coming up with parameters that you feel are challenging enough, but and are in spirit of what's going on, and then maybe not making it a horrible experience. So I kind of been thinking about it. I think to myself, okay, Iksar warrior, leveling mostly in Kunark, which I've never done before. Solo self-found. What am I going to be able to do, and what am I not going to be able to do? So if I was playing it very rigidly, I wouldn't be able to buy any Spirit of Wolf potions. Wouldn't be able to buy any gems. Wouldn't be able to buy any jewelry. All that kind of stuff. So essentially, you're literally just doing stuff. You're literally just using equipment that you can pick up or make yourself. Making yourself is quite interesting, but then making like armors, for example, for all of the races has got certain requirements, you know, and some of the requirements, like the quite high level gems, are required for armor pieces that are got quite below the level of the gem that from the mobs that you can get it from if you wanted to go out and solo and try and get the gem drops. Again, that's not too much of a problem, because if you're doing solo self found, if you can equip one of the armor pieces from the quest, you know, if you have to kill a level 35 mob for an item, but you have to wait until you're higher level to be able to kill a mob to get a gem, maybe that's still an upgrade at that level. Like if you're wearing the breastplate from the Iksar, you know, warrior kind of armor quests and stuff, if you're wearing the breastplate at level 50, maybe that's an upgrade, because what you've been wearing up until that point is incredibly low. It might be incredibly low level. The other thing as well is obviously you're kind of blocking yourself out of everything else, pretty much, apart from what you can solo. And I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if maybe allowing yourself to group up to get upgrades and stuff, you know, I don't know. As I said, there's a lot of ways of playing it. Obviously, the absolute minimum expectation is that there's no twinking whatsoever. But do you allow yourself to buy some Spirit of Wolf potions just to take the edge off of travelling? You know, do you allow your character to buy some gems just to be able to do the armor quests at a reasonable level? Do you buy jewelry because you don't want to be jewelry crafting? You know, it's a sliding scale, isn't it? I think what I'm going to do is start. This is going to be a new series, by the way, and I want to try it with different classes. An Iksar, I say Iksar warrior. Talking about warrior is going to be the first one, but I'll be looking at gnome or Iksar. Iksar have got some questing to do for their armor pieces, and they need some gems, pretty much like all the other classes. The quested armor on the non-Iksar races seems to have lower requirements. It still seems to need the high level gems, but the mobs you need to kill seem to be a bit lower. Although I must say that the mobs for all of them do appear to be outdoor mobs. You can get the items you need on outdoor mobs if you know where to go to get them. So that's not too much of a problem. But the gnome Iksar's got regeneration, which I kind of think is going to be a really big thing for a warrior. Gnome has some. The cultural gnome stuff is quite interesting because it does come with like a haste. It does come with like a run speed buff. You know, so maybe if you were playing a gnome, you would say, I'm not going to buy any Spirit of Wolf potions because that's something I can manage myself. Obviously, like on the Iksar, I guess you could probably do the... Could you do the J-Boots quest on your own? I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. So it's interesting. It's been interesting thinking about this series because it makes you look at a class in a different way. It makes you look at what a class is capable of on its own and what it's not capable of. And are those things that it's not capable of a bit deal breaking? Like for example, as I said, do I want to round at standard speed all of the time? I guess you can get buffs. I'm not quite sure where the self-found thing is on buffs. I guess some people might say, well, I'm not going to have buffs, so you get buffs and then you wait for the person to go and you click them off. I'm kind of inclined to keep buffs because I think that it's just part of the game. But I guess, you know, solo self-found, the whole point of it is you're putting restrictions on yourself, aren't you? So solo self-found, grouping is part of the game, but I'm assuming that if you're sticking rigidly to that, you don't group. You know, so I'm not sure. What I might do is start the game, start the character, and see how I feel about things as I go along. You know, if I get to a point where I can do the class armor quests for the character, how do I feel about it at that point? Buying a gem or something from someone, or you know, whatever it may be. When I get to a point where I'm travelling further out, how do I feel about buying Spirit of Wolf potions for the character? I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. How do I feel about buffing? I'm not sure yet. You know, I think if I got a load of buffs that made me completely OP. I don't know. Maybe, as I said, that is part of the game. Maybe give me your opinions. You know, let me know what you're doing. if you've done it, you know, what restrictions you're setting yourself. But it's something that I'm really excited to try, and it's the most excited I've been about coming back and playing Everquest for quite some time, actually. And I'm quite looking forward to that, kind of sitting around, killing a few mobs, resting up, you know, watching some Twitch or whatever, or YouTube or whatever it may be, just getting into that kind of EverQuesty flow of leveling up. And also, like, it's quite interesting also doing a lot of research as into what items you can get. Like, I mean, like, for example, as an Iksar warrior, if you were playing solo self-found, would you ever be able to get a haste item? I don't know. If you were in your 50s, you know, could a warrior solo could a warrior manage to get to a point where they could get to and solo an FBSS? I'm not sure. Maybe you could do it at 60. Maybe that's when you do it. You know, maybe you get the character to 60 and then you kind of go back and kind of, I guess, weirdly get things that would have helped you get to 60 anyway. But yeah, I'm going to log in. I'm going to be an Iksar warrior to start off with. I'm going to log in and we'll have a look around. And this is not going to be a blow-by-blow account, although what I will be doing is I will be doing some streaming. So it will kind of like be a video stroke streaming series for you to watch and hopefully enjoy. There's already like a guy on Twitch who's done a gnome warrior, and I think he's just doing a cleric at the moment. So what I might do is have a look to see how he limited himself. He did do a gnome, and I kind of feel that gnome feels like, even though it wouldn't normally for this situation, it kind of feels like the no-brainer. Because you've got the cultural armor that will give you like a Spirit of Wolf effect, and you get a bit of a haste and all that kind of stuff. So maybe gnome is the no-brainer. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd be interested to hear if you guys have tried it and how you got on, and what limitations you set for yourself, if you allowed yourself some presence, or you know, just some stuff to get you going. If there were certain things that you couldn't do, so you said to yourself, well, my class is not capable of doing this themselves, so I'm going to allow myself to buy this, like Spirit of Wolf potions, for example. So let's log in. Oh, I didn't know the name was there, which was good. Drillmaster Vigan. So I'm assuming that there are some quests as well to do. So what I want to try and do is maybe also not keep looking at keep using the wiki. You know, maybe it will be quite interesting to just hail characters and see what they're telling you, what if there's any little things available or whatever it is. I'm not quite sure that I need to worry about too much here for training at the moment. Kick, yeah, I think I get warriors get kick at level 1. Let's just put something into some of these. Sense heading I always plonk at level 1, and it goes up on its own. I think swimming is already 100, isn't it? Got 2 practices left. Maybe two-handed slashing, maybe archery, bind wound, maybe archery might be quite good for a warrior at some point. I'm not sure. So okay, so he doesn't seem to have any quests available. So a shield seller. Okay, interesting. Oh, and not quite a gem seller, but I guess. Oh, okay. So this is a smithy's. Duh. Okay, so this is where the guys are. This is where some smithing can be done. Kind of got some stuff for sale, which is slightly better delay. I will be buying stuff off of. There's a sapphire for sale, actually. I know sapphire is used in some of the quests, so I'm going to be buying stuff off of vendors. Is that allowed? Is that what you guys do? Again, you'll have to let me know. So I won't buy it for now. Also, if you're kind of thinking about starting the game, I've got to give you my and you never played it before, and you wonder what it's like starting the game as a new player. So he's given me a Partisan's pike. I guess we would be partisan, wouldn't we? As a, well, I can't see the pike. Oh, that's because I'm. That's because he put it on. So is that two-handed piercing? Just piercing. Oh, high delay. Kind of highish damage with a bit of AC. Okay, we'll see. We'll see how we go. I'm just wondering if there's any little quests available. So the Drill Master didn't seem to have any obvious quests. Has that changed? I have no time for idle chit chat. But if you are not summoned to this, be off. Okay. So maybe if I type in, I was summoned to this fortress. Okay. Well, I think he's the warrior, Mars fighter, guild leader type thing. So he doesn't seem to have anything at the moment. I know. Looking at the Iksars, I'm aware that there are pike upgrade quests to upgrade your pikes. But maybe I need to be a different level. I'm not sure. But we will hail some dudes around arrows as well. New Drill Master Kig. Okay. Time to fight. Let's try what footman pike. Footman pike is what you need. A footman pike is what you get, but only you must slay many beasts. I will slay many beasts. Beats. I'll slay many beats. Take this footman's pike and fill it, if you will, fill it with weapons of our foes. Turn to me along with your militia pike. Do this and earn your footman's pike. Okay, cool. Okay, so I've currently got Partisan's pike. Okay, so footman pike. So I need to fill this bag with some weapons. Okay, so we've got our first quest to upgrade our weapon. So we're kind of off and running. And what I'll do is I'll get out of here, and we'll go and see if we can upgrade our pike early on. See how that goes. Oh, hello, some dudes. War Baron Eator. Okay, some bloody blah. Oh, okay. Get out. The troopers are just soldiers, aren't they? Yep. Okay, so upgrading our pike seems to be the first option. Lots of smithing around as well, which is quite interesting. I think I'm going to go out to the Field of Bone, so I'll go and do that. We'll start leveling, and I'll try and fill the bag up with weapons. It didn't seem as though it was asking for any weapons particularly, but we'll see how that goes. Hello, welcome back, guys. Just an update. I'm level 2, killing decaying skeletons. Obviously, if you're a new player to Everquest, classic. Always kill the skeletons. Sometimes they've got weapons, but they'll be holding the weapons, so you'll be able to see those if they've got them. Yeah, and they drop armor pieces and bags sometimes if you're lucky. So it's all worth doing. I'm not sure if these skulls are part of a quest, but I'm picking them up anyway. The thing I noticed, kind of starting off with a like a melee character or whatever, is that you're totally limited by your skills at the start. You know, so I'm missing a lot. I mean, when I oh, that bloody kill still by a flaming guard. Yeah, so I'm missing a lot at the moment at the start. When I do, like, the pike that I got as my joining the guild gift type thing, if I can one hit the skeletons. If I hit for the max hit, which I think is 16 damage at the moment, I can kind of like one hit them. or malicious skeletons at a higher level, so I need to watch out for those. Yeah, if I can kind of one-shot them if I hit for a max straight away, but that's not often the case. I'm noticing that the regeneration, even at this level, is kind of a little help. I think it does really help. It does help actually, and it only scales up better. So we'll see how we go. But yes, I haven't got any weapons yet. I did see a skeleton with a weapon, but a necromancer came across and killed it. I guess maybe for his pet. Yeah, but I'm now getting swamped, so I need to be careful here. I've seen some people kind of do like hardcore runs. I'm not sure that I'm up to that really. I mean, I might keep track of how many deaths I get, but I'm not sure that I want to be yeah, trying to hardcore it. That sounds maybe crazy. We'll see how we go. But anyway, yes, level 2. I'll carry on leveling, and I'll try and get some weapons as well for my... oh, I'm not even attacking that one. That's stupid. I'll try and get some weapons to do the quest and get the new pike. Hello, welcome back. So, we're level 3. I've managed to buy myself 3 bags. In the building behind us here, there's a vendor that sells bags for 5 gold each. They've got 8 spaces, and you can put weapons in them. I got myself a Targ shield, so a bit of extra AC. I got 2 Targ shields actually. This is why it's good to kill skeletons essentially at the start, the decaying ones, because they just drop stuff that you can sell. It was 1 plat for selling that, and it allowed me to buy, with all the other silver I'd picked up, it allowed me to buy 3 bags. So I've got bag space kind of sorted. Look out for quests as well. So Trooper Mozzo here has got a quest to hand in some bone chips, and there's you're killing skeletons, so you're going to get loads of bone chips. 5% XP there. At level 2 I was getting 11% XP, so that's really nice to do. So keep killing the skellies. You get 7 silver as well. I mean, you might want to save. I got 6% for that one. I guess it's 5 point something roughly. You might want to save the bone chips if you want, maybe to sell to necromancers for cash. I'm not quite sure what that market is like anymore. It's always really good when when a new server opens, but after that I'm not 100% sure. I also got myself a new sword that dropped, a tarnished one. I guess one thing that I completely misjudged was the fact that to upgrade your pike you need to kill certain higher level mobs essentially, which I'm not able to do quite at the moment, so I'll have to leave that for now. What I'm thinking about first of all now is how would I get myself some armour. How's that going to work? Skeletons sometimes drop like cloth armour. That's not particularly good. Maybe there are some mobs that drop rawhide. Again, I mean, that's okay. So I guess I'm thinking to myself, do I make it myself? You know, do I take up blacksmithing? Probably. I mean, I guess if you're playing this way and you want to be as self-sufficient as possible and you can't get drops, I guess you need to make stuff yourself. So I need to look at blacksmithing, what's required to start leveling that up to a point where I can make my own armour, banded armour, I guess, first of all. I think the requirements on that are quite high from a blacksmithing skill point of view, but we will, yeah, we'll have to see how we go. But it's great so far. It's great playing the game, and because you've set yourself some limits, you know, you're playing it in a different way. You are looting everything. You know, you've been a bit more, although I'm not kind of playing it hardcore, you know, I want to die as least as possible. So I'm looking at what's going on around me, being more aware of my environment, which is really cool. The other thing is, as I said, like there's the bone chip quests. There's quite a lot of them spread around, so it's worth seeing if your starter area or your city has a bone quest, a bone chip quest hand in. They give varying degrees of XP depending on where you are. What I do, I'm going to start adding scorpion. The main reason I bought the bags was there's another quest hand in where you hand in scorpion stingers, I think, to an NPC just back at the start there. And I think I'm not quite sure what he gives you in exchange, but I will test that out to see what's what. Loads of bone chips. Let's start adding scorpions in. Scorpions are now blue because they're level 2. I've got to that point where I'm not missing 4 out of 5 attacks as well, which is quite nice. One thing to be aware of as well when you're handing in bone chips is that you don't get that much XP anyway. It's not like you're going to level off of a few bone chips. But just make sure you keep up with your skills, essentially. This is getting a bit messy here. These guys are slightly higher level. I think we'll be okay. You really noticed the regeneration early on. It's quite astonishing, actually, even though it's like only like 1 or 2 points. It's kind of double what the other races would have unless you're a troll. So yeah, it's interesting to see how that works. And also, obviously now, because my skill points are going up quite well, I'm just not missing as much. You know, we're killing things quicker than we were. Looks like with the scorpions, it looks like I could just stand here and fighting scorpions, and to a point, and when one runs past, it will just aggro essentially. But yeah, it's funny. Like it's a whole new level on Everquest, really. You know, like as I said, like I set myself some strict parameters playing New World. It's easier to do it on that game because everything is just so much more, I guess, easier anyway, or less time consuming. It's easier to really ramp up the you know, the limitations you put on yourself. On Everquest it's a bit different, you know, because I'm kind of thinking to myself, do I want this limitation? You know, is this an enjoyable limitation? Am I getting anything from it? For example, as I said before, the run speed potions. Am I getting a kick out of it? Do I find it enjoyable? I guess that's the... Yeah, so these pincers, actually. Yeah, you turn the pincers in. I'm not quite sure what you get. I'll have to check it out. For some reason, I kind of think it might be a bag. In which case, I might have just wasted my money on a bag. But I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to see. Anyway, I'll be back. So Warlord Ziz is just up here. There's the entrance to Cabalist, and so he's just up in this building up on the balcony here. And he, if you hail him, go through the quest chat, because it's always interesting to do that kind of thing. And he will give you a quest to turn in 4 of these pincers for a reward. I'm assuming it's going to be just some XPs. Okay, so 9% XP there for that. So yeah, there's in generally all of the areas where you go to, you'll find. Is that all that we've got? Yeah, I don't want to give him those 3. We've only got 7 at the moment. Cancel that. Yeah, so wherever you go from a point of view of wherever you start, essentially, whatever starter town you're in. Generally, I think Iksar might be a bit better because it was a newer race. So maybe they thought of adding these kind of things in just a bit more, essentially. But yeah, most starter areas will have some sort of quest turn-in that will help you with XP and stuff. Many of the guilds will as well, you know, have hand-ins for stuff that will help you. The ogre one, for example, has got the ogre guilds have got some starter ones. I think the Shadow Knight one has got, you turn in froglock tails essentially to get some weapons and whatnot. Yeah, but it's going really well at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. And the other thing as well, you kind of think of things that you have to do things you wouldn't do before. So before, I'm quite overweight. So before, I would think, well, copper, I'll just destroy that. Who cares? But because it's all the money I've got, you know, I'm going to go to the bank and change up my coin so that I'm not destroying coin, which is something that I would never have done before. I kind of got weapons, and I'm not sure. I need to look into it, but I kind of feel that maybe one of the ways of increasing blacksmithing at the start is to sharpen weapons. So I'm keeping my weapons to sharpen them to see if that is actually a thing to start increasing blacksmithing. So I'm going to go and check that as well. I'll let you know if that works. But yeah, I'm just going to head to the bank at the moment and change up my coin. Yeah, so that I'm not destroying it as I would do if I was a dirty twink. So the game doesn't have trainers for the crafting skills as you might find in other games. It's actually your main trainer that trains those skills. So I'll come back here to see if I can start increasing blacksmithing skill with the view of kind of creating armor in the future, essentially. And what I've done is bought myself some sharpening stones. and you use those in a forge. Let's just see. I don't really want to spend any money on 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's chuck in 5 skill points into blacksmithing to get it going. Just around the corner here, there's a there's the forge, which I think is what you need. And you chuck a sharpening stone and a rusty sword in, and combine. You cannot combine these items in this container type. Okay, so what am I doing wrong? No. Okay, well, I'm learning as I go. I'm learning with you. So how do you use a sharpening stone on a sword? I'm sure there used to be like a use option or something. You don't just drag it across, no. Okay. Well, that's something I need to work out. But anyway, if you want to train any skill, go to your class trainer essentially, rather than looking for a crafting trainer or whatever it may be. And I need to work out how this works. Maybe it's a different. Maybe it's not the forge. Maybe it's something else. I need to look into that, and I'll come back. But that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to save up some rusty weapons, and I'm going to sharpen them, and then I guess sell them if I don't want to use them, to make some money and to increase my blacksmithing skill. I'll see how that goes. Okay, so we've worked it out. So I've come to a forge just outside of the Warriors Guild building. I'm not sure why the one inside didn't work, but this one seems to be working. So I've just created a couple of tarnish there. Let's put that in. Yeah, so you just put them in essentially, combine, and that worked. I'm not getting any skill ups, which is a bit annoying at all. Oh, I am. Yeah, sorry. It's in a different windows. I've got 3 skill ups so far. Okay, that one's done as well. Tarnished. So they're all tarnished. I guess I can just go and sell them now, essentially. I've got another shield to sell as well. So yeah, so that's how I'm going to start that's how I'm going to start increasing blacksmithing, to maybe get to a point where I can make myself some armors and whatever it may be. I'll go and sell. So I've got 3 things to do: leveling, increasing blacksmithing, first of all by sharpening weapons, and collect more of these scorpion pincers to hand in for XP. And I think that'll keep me going for now. And also, I think I'll end the video here. This is kind of going to be the end of my session for today. Level 5, I might knock out level 6 here in the the spider caves. Yeah, it's going well. Increasing some skills, including blacksmithing. Playing, as I said, you know, it kind of makes you think about things very differently when you're playing the game. Even right down to basic things like going to change up your coin. Whereas before, you know, when I've been playing recently, it's all been about twinking, and I don't even really pick up stuff off the floor, to be honest with you, off of mobs generally at the start, because it's just not worth it. But yeah, it's really cool getting back to like a more kind of old school experience, I guess. Nothing too challenging either so far, really. You know, I can kind of kill even con mobs at the moment on the warrior here, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's going really well. I'm just going to carry on leveling, I guess, at the moment. The 2 kind of starter quest type things I was doing, I guess you would call them, the experience is starting to kind of become quite low on them. So I guess going forward, I'll probably be looking at leveling in a more conventional means, maybe looking around for some other quests that may be available. Increasing blacksmithing to try and try and get to a point where I can make myself some armour. Yeah, lots to do, lots to think about. And I'm enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun. What I might do is kind of off video muck around the gnome one as well, because although I want this to be challenging, and kind of going back to more like an old school kind of vibe, I want it to be fun as well. So I'm kind of was having another look at the gnome stuff that they can make, the armour and a few other gadgets and stuff. Seems could be quite useful, particularly for a character that, if I kind of play it the way I'm intending, you know, is probably not going to get much chance to, you know, get equipment through going in and doing camps and stuff. I'm sure I can over level stuff and maybe go back and do it at a later date. But it might be handy to have like an haste item and you know, like a Spirit of Wolf style item and stuff, just available that I can make myself rather than having to go and camp those things. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you again soon with another one of these. Diablo 4 comes out tomorrow, for me anyway. So this series might slow down a bit over the coming like couple of weeks or whatever. But yeah, it's I've got plans to carry on doing this. Kind of with each class, I guess, to a point where I feel that it's not fun anymore, and then I'll kind of try a different class and we'll do that. I kind of feel that I should at least get each class level 50, and maybe even beyond if I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, it's a warrior next. The plan for the next character is to be a human monk. I kind of feel that might be quite a bit of an easier ride than the warrior. But yeah, that's the plan for the next one so far. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you again soon.